Hello and welcome to the Brea Olinda Unified School District's overview presentation of the Next Generation Science Standards. This is Carrie Mamrot, Program Specialist for BOUSD. Information for this presentation was gathered from the CDE NGSS website, the NGSS official website, from information from the Orange County Department of Ed.
In today's ever-technologically advancing world, we are living at the speed of science. And we need to educate our students to be scientifically literate, ready to ask questions, define problems, investigate, analyze data, construct explanations, and design solutions, ready to take on the future. The Next Generation Science Standards provide an important opportunity to improve not only science education, but also student achievement, reflecting a new vision for American science education, creating a context for learning, comprehending the core knowledge and ideas, and engaging in scientific and engineering practices helps to prepare students for broader understanding and deeper levels of scientific and engineering investigation later on in high school, college, and beyond. By states, for states. The Next Generation Science Standards were developed by a team of experts and stakeholders in science and engineering, K-12 and higher education, and industry in an open, collaborative, state-led process. The standards are internationally benchmarked against countries whose students perform well in math and science. Implementing improved K-12 science standards will better prepare high school graduates to succeed in college and careers, enabling employers to hire workers with strong science-based knowledge and skills, critical thinking, and inquiry-based problem-solving. Educating students for the future. Educating students at the speed of science. The Next Generation Science Standards. For states, by states.
So why NGSS? There's no doubt that science, and therefore science education, is central to the lives of all Americans. Never before has our world been so complex and science knowledge so critical to making sense of it all. When comprehending current events, choosing and using technology, or making informed decisions about one's healthcare, science understanding is key. Science is also at the heart of this country's ability to continue to innovate, lead, and create the jobs of the future. All students, whether they become technicians in a hospital, workers in a high-tech manufacturing facility, or PhD researchers, must have a solid K-12 science education. Through a collaborative, state-led process, new K-12 science standards have been developed that are rich in content and practice and arranged in a coherent manner across disciplines and grades to provide all students an internationally benchmarked science education. Let's explore the 7 conceptual shifts in the Next Generation Science Standards. The first shift is that K through 12th grade science education should reflect the interconnected nature of science as it is practiced and experienced in the real world. Second, the NGSS are student performance expectations, not curriculum. The science concepts build coherently from kindergarten through 12th grade. The NGSS focus on deeper understanding of content as well as application of content. Science and engineering are integrated into the NGSS from K through 12th grade. The NGSS are designed to prepare students for college, career, and citizenship. Lastly, the NGSS and Common Core state standards for mathematics and English language arts and literacy are aligned. You can click the link for Appendix A of the Next Generation Science Standards for more information on these conceptual shifts. The National Research Council of the National Academy of Sciences developed a framework for K-12 science education. This was released in July of 2011. This framework helped in the creation of the Next Generation Science Standards. The framework provides a sound, evidence-based foundation for standards by drawing on current scientific research, and it identifies the science of all K-12 students should know. The framework's vision of science education includes providing students opportunities to have a progressively deeper understanding of science. The framework also emphasizes active engagement in practices to deepen understanding of cross-cutting concepts and disciplinary core ideas. Lastly, the framework discusses the integrated systems of standards, curriculum, instruction, and assessment based on 3 dimensions. Each and every next generation science standard has 3 dimensions: disciplinary core ideas, or DCIs, which is the content, science and engineering practices, or SEPs, and cross-cutting concepts, or CCs. Previous standards express these dimensions as separate entities, leading to their separation in both instruction and assessment. The integration of rigorous content and application reflects how science and engineering are practical in the real world. The NGSS encourage integration with multiple core concepts throughout the year. The first dimension is science and engineering practices. This dimension describes major practices that scientists use to investigate the natural world and what engineers do to design and build systems. The practices better explain and extend what is meant by inquiry in science and the range of cognitive, social, and physical practices that it requires. Students engage in practices to build, deepen, and apply their knowledge of core ideas and cross-cutting concepts. The second dimension is cross-cutting concepts. This dimension emphasizes the need to consider not only the disciplinary content, but also the ideas and practices that cut across the science disciplines. The framework describes that these cross-cutting concepts have value because they provide students with connections and intellectual tools that are related across the differing areas of disciplinary content and can enrich their application of practices and their understanding of core ideas. These 7 cross-cutting concepts are meant to give students an organizational structure to understand the world and help students make sense of and connect core ideas across disciplines and grade bands. The third dimension is disciplinary core ideas, or DCIs. The DCIs are the content that can be used to construct explanations, and they can be used as a form of evidence to support argument. They are the key ideas in science that have broad importance within or across multiple science or engineering disciplines. These core ideas build on each other as students progress, and the organization allows for this progression of the NGSS to be evident from kindergarten through 12th grade. The disciplinary ideas were grouped into 4 major domains: the life sciences, the earth and space sciences, the physical sciences, and engineering, technology, and applications of science. The NGSS are written as performance expectations, and it requires contextual application of the 3 dimensions by students. The shift for the NGSS is that the focus is on the how and the why, as well as the what. So this is an example of how the performance expectations build across the years. Take a moment to see how these performance expectations build and notice what students are expected to do to demonstrate a deep understanding of these science concepts. So where are we with the NGSS? On September 4th, 2013, the State Board of Education adopted the Next Generation Science Standards for California Public Schools K through 12. The California Science Framework is still being worked on, and this November a meeting will take place to hopefully recommend adoption of the framework. For this school year, during the spring of 2017, the state of California will conduct a pilot test of the CASTs, or the new California Science Tests. During the spring of 2018, we will be involved in the field testing of these new California Science Tests. In November of 2018, it is proposed for instructional materials to be adopted by the State Board of Education, and it is anticipated that the operational assessment of this NGSS assessment take place during the spring of 2019. So what can we expect? We do not have too much information with regard to the new science summative assessments. However, here is a graphic of the new shifts that we can expect. Our fifth graders have historically taken the CST or CMA science test that assess students' knowledge of the previous fourth and fifth grade standards. The new NGSS assessment may test a fifth grader's knowledge of the K through 5 performance expectations. Looking at the middle row of the table, our eighth graders have historically taken the CST or CMA science assessment, which mostly assessed the physical science standards. The new science assessment will assess students' understanding of the 6th through 8th grade performance expectations. Lastly, 10th graders were tested on the life science standards from 7th grade and biology. The new assessment will be assessing our students on all of the high school performance expectations. So here is a graphic of the design model for the new NGSS summative assessment. As you can see, there will most likely be 3 segments for the new science assessment. In segment A, students will be assessed on a broad sampling of the performance expectations. These will be the same performance expectations with variances in item difficulty. Segment A will consist roughly of 25 to 35 selected response items. Segment B will assess student knowledge more deeply based upon a student's performance from segment A. Segment B will consist of 1 to 2 item sets involving a series of complex problem sets based on the selected disciplinary core ideas. For segment C, all grade span performance expectation will be assessed, and this will emulate items in segment A or B. There will only be group scores for segment C, while segments A and B will produce student and group scores. More information will be coming as we near the pilot tests this spring. So now what? So as many of you know, CDE announced in the end of September that the CST, CMA, and Kappa Science will no longer be administered. The California Science Framework, which hopefully will be adopted soon, will give us opportunities to explore professional development. For now, we have an opportunity to really focus on getting to know the next generation science standards. So here are some resources. The first link, you can use this to explore the next generation science standards. The standards are organized by disciplinary core ideas and by topic. The next slide does offer a video resource on how to read the next generation science standards. I highly encourage you and your team to watch it. In addition, the next link, I would encourage you to explore it, as this is the next generation science standards website, and it has a lot of great resources. So here is the video for how to read the next generation science standards. And I encourage you to use this as you explore the standards. Lastly, I have provided another resource. This educator created a series of videos surrounding the next generation science standards. This particular video that is embedded is an introductory video that highlights the important information about the next generation science standards, as well as the 3 dimensions. So if you click here below on this slide, a resource will pop up and it highlights significant instructional shifts surrounding the next generation science standards. Thank you so much for taking the time to explore an overview of the next generation science standards.